Dr. Jacob Cherian, his wife Dr. Mary Cherian, and son Dr. Prasad takes their eternal rest in the laps of our Heavenly Master. In this world where death is indisputable, very few make their mark with their lives before their demise. When God heard the cry of the oppressed, marginalized, rural poor, He sent them an aid in the form of an angel. That man, along with his beloved wife, arrived in Ottanchhatram and Ambilikkai. It was in the year 1955 that Dr. Jacob Cherian came to the village of Ottanchhatram in Tamil Nadu with his friend Dr. A.K. Cherian. Back in the 1950s and 60s, this part of Dindigul district lacked even the most basic infrastructure. There were neither electricity, schools, roads, hospitals, nor health centers. Additionally, being a rain shadow region, there was also a scarcity of water resources. Conveyance was limited to bullock carts, horse carts, and bicycles. Infectious diseases like tuberculosis and leprosy were widespread among the stigmatized people of Ottanchhatram and Ambilikkai. Dr. Jacob Cherian and Dr. A.K. Cherian took great pains to start a hospital in a newly procured land for the poor patients in that locality. This hospital is now widely known as C.F.C.H.C. Hospital. In 1966, Dr. Jacob Cherian started a hospital for the rehabilitation of TB and leprosy patients known as the Christian Fellowship Community Health Center of Ambilikkai, which was open 24 hours a day for the poor of that region, which later turned out as Christian Hospital Ambilikkai.
Dr. Jacob Cherian is a multifaceted personality. I want to share that his life, the man and the mission. As a man, as a human being, he was, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, a tender heart and a tough mind. Why do I say that? I remember a few decades ago when Dr. Jacob Cherian was traveling in a train. There he found a very young man crawling and begging in the compartments. He was paralyzed below hip. And soon Dr. Jacob Cherian befriended him and asked questions about his background, illness. And when he got down in the next station, he took this boy along with him. And he trained this young man in automobile repair, a car mechanic. And years later, I saw him as a well-equipped technician who could handle issues of car mechanism and repair. Such was his compassion for those in need. Very sensitive heart and very practical in helping them. He was an excellent surgeon and very compassionate to the patients. He was a good diagnostician and a clinician. Those days where the equipments were very little, very few. The diagnosis and treatment were done on clinical examination, findings. and management. So I still remember how excellent his clinical practice was.
One of the greatest things that I started was the community health workers course, which was started in 1974, the first of its type in India. He chose, the children were, after completing +2, they were chosen for candidates from every village and trained them by very expert doctors in basic medical skills, inoculation, vaccination, and also pregnancy problems. And they were very much in demand by the mission hospital all over India.
When the rising number of cancer patients in Madurai and nearby areas caught his attention, he founded the Christian Cancer Center. A project was initially supported by renowned missionary Dr. Ida B. Scudder. This center initially had a deep X-ray facility for the convenience of cancer patients who had to travel 100 kilometers for post-operative treatment. Subsequently, a cobalt teletherapy unit was also installed there and was the only cancer center in Dindigul district for nearly half a century. During his missionary work, Dr. Jacob conducted over 25,000 surgical procedures. No surgery was delayed due to the financial distress of the patients.
In times of difficulty, when poor people used to come from villages, many villages around, to ask him for help, he will readily give them wheat, oil, or whatever they required.
ഡോക്ടറയ്യ മൂലമാണ് വില്ലേജുകളിലെല്ലാം 24 മിനി ഹെൽത്ത് സെൻറ്റർ അതാത് സ്ഥലങ്ങളിൽ വരാൻ വയ്യാത്തവർക്ക് പോയി ജോലി ചെയ്യത്തക്കണക്ക് ആളുകൾക്ക് ട്രെയിനിങ് കൊടുത്ത് അവർ പോയി പ്രവർത്തിക്കുക. ഹെൽത്ത് ഗൈഡ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഒരു കോഴ്സ് പഠിപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് അവർക്ക് കയ്യിൽ മെഡിസിനും കൊടുത്ത് ഈ വില്ലേജുകളിലെല്ലാം 24 മിനി ഹെൽത്ത് സെൻറ്റർ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അവിടെയെല്ലാം പോയി രോഗികളെ ശുശ്രൂഷിക്കാനും എല്ലാ ട്രെയിനിങ്ങും അവർക്ക് കൊടുത്തു.
Once there was a young girl who fell down from the tractor. And as she fell down, the tractor ran over her and she had head injury and the fracture of the hip. That girl was admitted in our surgical ward. And I was there along with my students, A&M students, and Dr. Jacob Cherian, sir, our beloved Ayya, used to come every day. And we were giving nursing care, the best nursing care I was helping my students to give. And Ayya was there to take care and the medicine that is supposed to be administered for the particular girl. And to all of our surprise, that girl recovered completely. And after a couple of years, I saw her. She came over to the ward. She said, now I'm married and I'm having 2 children. And that was a miracle that happened. And like this, I could quote so many miracles that has happened in this hospital. And any time that he does a surgery, he was a very active surgeon and he was a competent surgeon too.